I'm back. First of all, thank you so much for those of you who waited patiently, who are checking in to see when I was going to be back. It's great that I'm finally going to be able to do it. I'm here. I'm ready. It's December 1st. Let's get back into it. Today's subject is a rock and roll legend. Prior to his rise to fame during a trip to Kansas City with a group of friends in 1944, he participated in an armed robbery for which he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He served 3 years after this incident and his debut as a professional musician. He would once again have a run-in with the law. The performer was at the top of his career and stopped with his musicians at a bar in Juarez, Mexico after completing a concert across the river in El Paso to drink a few beers and visit some clubs. In one club, he locked eyes with a young lady and began flirting. And that is how, on December 1st, 1959, Chuck Berry once again stepped onto the path to prison. Janice Escalante was 14 and had been making money as a sex worker. Berry later claimed that he pitied her and wanted to help her, offering her a job as a hat check assistant at the nightclub he had recently opened in his hometown of St. Louis. If she wanted to take the job, he told her she needed to leave town with him that night, and after 5 more one-night gigs, they would all return together to St. Louis. Berry fixed it so that Escalante and he shared hotel rooms. Once they crossed many state lines and got back to St. Louis, Escalante started working at Berry's club bandstand. The hat check counter didn't suit her, so she started mingling with the customers. Fights ensued, she got fired, and Berry dragged her to the Greyhound bus station where he tried to put her on a coach back to El Paso. But later that night, she turned up again at the club. More angry words followed, and a few days before Christmas, Escalante and Berry found themselves on the sidewalk in front of Club Bandstand, under arrest and explaining themselves to a police officer. Between 1960 and 1963, the man who helped invent rock and roll spent 20 months in federal prison following his conviction on charges of violating the Mann Act. Berry's defense was not found credible by the all-male, all-white jury at his first trial, and he was convicted on March 11, 1960, and sentenced to 5 years imprisonment and a $5,000 fine. Although he would have his conviction vacated and a new trial ordered by a federal appeals court in October 1960 due to disparaging racial comments made by the judge in his original trial, Berry would be convicted again on retrial in March 1961 and serve the better part of the next 2 years in prison.